Rain poured heavily that night. The sky roared as if crying with the little girl who sat by the broken window of St. Mary's orphanage. Her name was Lila, a fragile 9-year-old with tangled hair, bright eyes, and a smile that refused to fade, even when life had given her nothing but loss. She was found as a baby near the orphanage gates, wrapped in a thin cloth. No name, no note. Only a locket around her neck with the letter L. For years, she watched other children come and go, adopted by families who promised forever. But forever never came for her. That night, while thunder echoed through the walls, the orphanage matron, Sister Agnes, gathered the children. "Children, we have a visitor tomorrow," she announced with a rare smile. "A very important man, a CEO from the city. He's looking to adopt." Excitement bubbled through the room. The girls brushed their hair, the boys polished their shoes. But Lila sat quietly in the corner, clutching her little locket. "No one wants an unlucky girl," she whispered to herself. Every family that once considered her had faced misfortune soon after. Illness. Business loss. One even lost their home. Word spread that Lila carried bad luck. She stopped hoping after that. The next morning, sleek black cars rolled through the orphanage gates. From one of them stepped a tall man in a gray suit, Ethan Hale, 38, CEO of Hale Industries. His face was calm, but his eyes were tired, the kind of tired that no sleep could fix. He'd built an empire, earned millions, and lost his wife in an accident 2 years ago. Since then, his mansion echoed with silence. His heart had turned to ice, until something, deep inside, told him to visit the orphanage. The matron greeted him warmly. "Mr. Hale, we're honored. Please, come meet the children." He nodded politely as a dozen eager faces gathered before him. Yet his gaze fell, not on the brightest, not on the most cheerful, but on the quiet girl by the window, humming softly to herself while she folded paper cranes. He walked over. "You're not joining them?" he asked gently. Lila shook her head. "They'll be chosen first, sir. I'm okay." Her tone carried no bitterness, only calm acceptance, and that somehow broke something in him. "What's your name?" "Lila, sir." "Do you like paper cranes?" She smiled faintly. "They bring good luck to others. Not me." Ethan tilted his head, curious. "Why not to you?" "Maybe I was meant to give luck away. Not keep it." He didn't know why, but those words lingered. Something about her eyes, her voice, her calmness, reminded him of his late wife, Clara, who used to say the same thing: "We find our luck in giving it away." By the end of the day, when the matron handed him several profiles of more suitable children, Ethan shook his head. "I've made my choice," he said quietly. "I want to adopt Lila." The matron hesitated. "Mr. Hale, are you sure? There have been incidents. People say she's—" He interrupted softly but firmly. "I don't believe in curses. I believe in people." 2 weeks later, Lila stepped into the Hale mansion, a house that could fit her entire orphanage 10 times over. But what struck her most wasn't its size, it was the emptiness. No laughter. No warmth. Just polished marble and silence. Ethan introduced her to the staff. "This is Lila. She's my daughter now." Everyone smiled politely, though some exchanged surprised looks. The CEO adopting a random orphan girl. It sounded like charity. But Ethan didn't care. That night, he passed by her room and saw her asleep, hugging a tiny stuffed bear the maid had given her. For the first time in years, Ethan smiled. Outside, the rain stopped. And for the first time in months, the moonlight touched his home. Months passed. The mansion changed. Slowly. Lila's laughter filled the halls. She painted the dull walls with paper cranes and hand-drawn rainbows. She baked cookies with the maids, fed the koi fish in the pond, and greeted every guard by name. The mansion, once silent, began to breathe again. Ethan watched quietly from afar. His work calls grew shorter. His late nights at the office fewer. He began returning home early just to listen to her stories about school, or to hear her sing while drawing. But something else began to happen, something he couldn't explain. The first miracle, Hale Industries, which had been struggling for months, suddenly landed its biggest deal in 5 years, a partnership that tripled its revenue. When asked what changed, Ethan only smiled and said, "A little good luck." The second miracle, his elderly mother, bedridden for years, suddenly regained her strength after Lila began visiting her every weekend, bringing her hand-drawn flowers and stories. The doctors called it a rare recovery. His mother called it love in its purest form. And soon, everyone at Hale Industries began to whisper, not about the CEO's coldness anymore, but about the little girl who turned his life around. But not everyone was happy. Ethan's business rival, Marcus Trent, mocked him publicly. The great Ethan Hale, relying on a little girl's luck now. Pathetic. Ethan ignored him. But Marcus didn't stop there. He spread rumors that Lila was only adopted as a publicity stunt, that the CEO's perfect family was fake. One evening, when Lila overheard two journalists repeating those lies near the mansion gates, she ran to her room, crying silently. For the first time since adoption, she felt unwanted again. Ethan found her curled up on the bed, hugging her bare. "Lila, what's wrong?" she sobbed. "They said you only adopted me to look good, that I'm not really your family." Ethan knelt, pulling her into his arms. His voice trembled, the man who once never showed emotion. "Listen to me, Lila. You are my daughter. Not because I needed you, but because my heart chose you. You didn't bring me luck, you brought me life." She sniffled. "But people say I'm cursed." He smiled gently, wiping her tears. "If this is a curse, I'll take it 1,000 times over." That night, Lila placed one of her paper cranes on his desk. "For good luck tomorrow," she said. Tomorrow, Ethan was scheduled to face Marcus in a high-stakes board meeting that would decide the future of his company. He took the crane with him. The next day, Marcus tried to sabotage the meeting with fake evidence and manipulated reports. But Ethan, calm and confident, revealed every lie, with proof collected quietly over months. Marcus was exposed, fired from the board, and arrested for fraud. When Ethan returned home that night, he found Lila asleep on the couch, waiting for him. He kissed her forehead and whispered, "You really are my lucky charm." Months turned to years. Lila grew, brighter, stronger, more loved. She excelled in school and won art competitions. Each victory she dedicated to Dad. And one day, when she was 17, she found an old box in Ethan's study, filled with her childhood drawings, every paper crane she'd made, and a note written by him years ago. "Greater than, to my daughter Lila. You didn't need to bring me luck. You brought me back to love." Tears rolled down her cheeks. She ran to him in his office and hugged him tight. "I found your note," she said softly. He smiled, his eyes misty. "And do you know what the best part of luck is, Lila?" "What?" "It never leaves, when it's born from love." Years later, during a company anniversary event, Ethan introduced her, not as his adopted daughter, but as Lila Hale, vice president of the company. The crowd stood in applause. Reporters once again whispered, but this time, with awe, "Isn't she the girl he adopted years ago? She's the reason everything changed for him." And somewhere in the crowd, Sister Agnes, now old and frail, smiled proudly. As the event ended, Lila looked up at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, Mom, for sending him to me." Ethan heard her and placed an arm around her shoulders. "No," he said softly. "Thank you for choosing me." That night, the mansion lights glowed softly. Laughter echoed. And on Ethan's desk, beside hundreds of awards and business trophies, sat a single paper crane, the first one Lila ever made. A symbol of how love, not luck, can change.